Here now, Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Senator, how are you? All right, Senator, President Xi said he's preparing for war. They have been ramping up their military now for over a decade, and now they increased their defense budget another 7.6%. And President Xi said he's preparing for war. I assume it's against us. Is that a wrong assumption?
Well, it's not against Belgium or Luxembourg. Look, I think the bottom line is we're in a conflict. And I think we have to start talking about it that way. You know, a lot of time, most of the people are up here now don't remember. You know, I was very young, obviously, at the end of the Cold War, but it's been about 30 years since there was another superpower on the earth that was in conflict with the United States. And we are back in that place. And we need to stop pretending like that's not the case. Now, I hope it's never an armed conflict, but it's a conflict at every level you can imagine. And I think, look, we have a couple problems. Number one, the White House, the Biden administration is filled with a bunch of traditional, conventional political figures that grew up over the last 20 years talking about cooperating with China. We saw how that worked out. They took all of our jobs, they took all of our factories, they got rich, we got poorer, their middle class grew, our middle class shrunk. They make things and we don't. That was, but I think the other problem we have, and you've alluded to this, is these guys in China, they watch TV. I mean, they watch TV broadcasts of what's happening in America. And I hate saying this because I don't want to encourage our enemies, but you turn on the TV and you watch Joe Biden speak on any topic, on any day, that does not inspire respect or apprehension on the part of our adversaries. They're probably saying, now's the time to strike, guys.
Well, they definitely are doing that. And look at this new alliance that is emerging. I call it a new axis of evil. I mean, you got Russia, you got China. Now they bring in the Iranians. They broker a deal with Saudi Arabia. Now they're brokering another deal with Saudi Arabia and Syria. And they're telling Kevin McCarthy not to meet with an allied leader. And then what are the consequences for the balloon spying? What are the consequences for taking out an American drone like Putin did?
There have been no consequences. And I think that's part of the challenge that we have on our hands here. Look, it goes beyond these things. That just today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them. As we are sitting here, focused on some of these nuttiness that's going on, people that are basically dedicating their lives in this country to ensuring that it is legal to mutilate children, to do drag shows in schools. They dedicate their lives to this, and we have another superpower that basically wants to become the world's dominant power at our expense, and these people don't want to focus on it. We had some person on The View yesterday say that our criminal justice system is no better than what China is doing with its genocide of Uyghur Muslims. So we better wake up, or we're going to live in a very different world than the one we've been used to, and it's going to happen very fast.
We have military installations now that have drag queen shows. You know that. I played that earlier.
Yeah, but I mean, it's part of I don't know if you saw this poll yesterday. I don't put a lot of stock into the polls, but if you think about all of the values that make you a strong society, family, children's, patriotism, all of that is diminished. The only thing that matters now, the thing that has gone up, is people care about money, and I'm not saying that doesn't matter, but China knows it, and they use it against us. And they know that in America, they believe one day there are enough people to pressure their politicians because they care more about buying cheap shirts off an app from China than they do about standing up for their own country. At some point, we need to figure out that we are Americans. Someone needs to stand up for this country. If we don't, no one will. And that the world is a better place because of America, and it'll be a worse place if America declines.
Senator Marco Rubio, thank you.